Today, it is my honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Mr. Javon R. Bay. Mr. Bay is the president and CEO of Mercyhealth, or as many of you may know by now, that Mercy and Rockford Health Systems recently merged to form Mercyhealth. Javon has extremely close ties to Auburn and Rockford because at one point he was sitting in that exact same seat that you are sitting in. He told me it was back in the 1970s, but I'll let him clarify that. A simple Google search will tell you all you need to know about Javon's success as a leader. But what you don't know is about his humble beginnings. His family of 14 struggled to make ends meet, and at age 8, he got his first job. He was cutting lawns and shoveling snow in the neighborhood. Then he started his first paper route at age 10 on the west side of Rockford. By age 12, he had 3 routes and other students working for him. He was a hard worker and an entrepreneur from the very start. When he was at Auburn, he participated in the School to Work program, working from 7 a.m. to noon at Rockford Memorial Hospital, mopping floors. After school, he unloaded trucks until 10 p.m. at a local grocery store. During this time, he still managed to find the time to do his schoolwork. He managed to get good grades because he saw it as important since scholarships and grants were critical to his dream of becoming the first in his family to attend college. Javon indeed did go on to college. In fact, he also went on to receive a master's degree in hospital and healthcare administration, and by the age of 26, he became a vice president of one of the largest hospitals in the U.S. You know it as the Mayo Clinic St. Mary's Hospital in Rochester, Minnesota. Today, he is the CEO of a health system he spent 25 years growing from a $33 million in revenue to a $2.5 billion healthcare system with 80 facilities in 2 states that employs more than 7,500 people, including over 700 physicians. Javon is both a national and international speaker on healthcare, and he has authored several books. He has received numerous awards, including the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award, the highest award for quality, which he received from President George W. Bush in the Oval Office in 2008. He has had a remarkable journey, and one we are so happy that he has generously agreed to share with us today. Please welcome our commencement speaker, Mr. Javon Bay.
Well, good morning, and thank you for inviting me to speak at your graduation. As I was sitting up there, I was amazed at just how good-looking of a class you are. I want you to know that. A lot of attractive young people out there. Graduation is a very important time in your life. It's a milestone. And as I think, as Jessica just mentioned, you start a new chapter in your life. And I would also like to just take a moment to congratulate your parents, family members, friends, and teachers who I'm sure have provided you great counseling and support throughout your high school years. You know, it's hard to believe, as Ms. Hawkins referred to, that it's been 46 years as part of the Auburn graduation class of 1970 since I walked across this stage. And it seems like just yesterday that I was sitting in your chair as I was looking out at you, but I have to admit, the thing that was, perhaps the only thing in my mind was I was really hoping that at 5'6" tall, I wasn't going to trip over my 6-foot gown as I walked across the stage. And you notice when I told them that they didn't put a gown on me today. Well, anyway, it's a real privilege to share some important life lessons that I've learned throughout my journey. I appreciated hearing Jessica's life lessons. But I went to high school in a very turbulent time. It was the era of the Vietnam War. And upon my high school graduation, every U.S. male in the country received a graduation gift from the United States government, and it was called a draft number. And then we began to wonder, after receiving that, if we would end up fighting, perhaps dying in Vietnam, before we had much of a chance to do anything else. So that provoked a real strong counter-reaction by the kids in my generation. The government, the police, parents, everyone in authority was the enemy. I wonder if some of you maybe feel like that today, because it really isn't any easier to grow up today than it was then. Today we face national terror threats, a struggling economy, extreme peer pressure, very high rates of anxiety and stress. Today, texting and social media means that in an instant, messages and pictures can take on a whole life of their own and can follow you wherever you go. But know one thing, your struggles, your hardships, your roadblocks, they can be your greatest advantage. Looking back, my greatest strength, the thing that made me the man I am today, was the struggle. The first lesson I learned growing up was that, for me at least, my biggest advantage was that I had no advantage. Let me say that again. My biggest advantage, as I look back over 40 years, was that I had no advantage. I was number 11 out of 12 children in my family. My father was a printer at the Rockford newspaper, making less than $12,000 a year. And all 14 of us lived in a small 3-bedroom home on the west side by St. Patrick's Church and School. Now think about this, ladies and men. We had one bathroom for all 14 of us. And my 5 brothers and I shared a small bedroom on 3 sets of bunk beds. It was kind of like growing up in an army barracks. There never seemed to quite be enough food, and I had to fight for my share. And the reason that I started looking for work at the age of 8 in the neighborhood and in paper outs was that when I was 8 years old, the ice cream man, I remember distinctly coming down the street, and I ran to my mother and asked for a nickel so I could buy a popsicle, and she didn't even have a nickel to her name to be able to give me. So at the age of 8, I had the realization that if I wanted a popsicle or anything beyond a bed and some basic food, no hand-me-down clothes, that I was going to have to earn it. And so, as Ms. Hawkins mentioned in my introduction, I started doing yard work and shoveling snow in the winter at the age of 8 to earn money. At 10, I got into the paper route business, and I had to do all of this out of necessity because I realized that if I, again, wanted anything beyond the very basics, it was going to be up to me. And I have to tell you, as I've gone through the last 46 years of my life, I've seen this time and time again throughout my life as I've watched a number of friends and colleagues start their own businesses. And remarkably, almost without fail, the most successful, the ones who truly make it, are those who actually you would least expect. They're the hungry ones, the ones who seem to have fewer resources than everybody else. And why is it that the hungry ones seem to make it? Why is that? It's because they have to, right? They have no other option. They have no one else to fall back on. And it seems like when they've come up this path, as opposed to success having come easy for them, when they've achieved success, they're able to keep themselves and the rest of their lives in balance. Maybe you're the first in your family to consider college. Maybe you want to go but aren't sure how to pay for it. Maybe someone in your family is sick and needs help. Maybe you've been in trouble and aren't sure you deserve a second chance. I could go on, but the bottom line is it's easy to be tempted by shortcuts and avoid the hard work that comes from building yourself, building your life into something more. The second life lesson that taught me how to build my life into something more was the magic formula. Now, this is key, okay, because I do have a magic formula for success. The magic formula is actually relatively simple, and it's the need to suit up, show up, and do the next right thing each and every day. You've got to have enough determination over yourself, enough self-discipline to suit up, meaning dress appropriately, whether for school or work, and half the key to success in life is just showing up to wherever you're supposed to be and then doing the next right thing. This may be going to the 8 a.m. class at college instead of sleeping through it. This may be showing up on time each morning for work. This may be working out or lifting weights or going to church. Again, the key is to have enough discipline over yourself to suit up, show up, and do the next right thing each day. And also remember this, you can take yourself with you, take yourself with you wherever you go. So don't run from your struggles, because wherever you run to, you're going to find yourself there. And you'll find out that you were part of the problem, part of the struggles wherever you ran from. So your grades, your work, your decision to always do the next right thing will make or break your life over the long haul. However, it's also important to know that no one test, no one grade, no one class, no one lost game, no one even lost job will determine the outcome of your life. Doing the next right thing every day over the long haul, that will determine the outcome of your life. You don't need to know what your life will look like 20 years from now, but you do need to work hard and do the next right thing moment by moment, because that's how we live. We live one moment at a time. We exist at one moment in time. So how do you know what the next right thing is? Well, that's easy too. All you need to do is listen to your conscience, that little voice inside you that quickly tells you if what you're about to do is right or wrong. So show up, suit up, show up, and do the next right thing moment by moment. Ms. Hawkins mentioned during her introduction about my upbringing, and I can tell you it wasn't easy, the days were long, but I was determined to go to college. As she said, no one else in my family had gone to a four-year college out of high school, and I knew my parents couldn't help. And maybe if I'd received help from my parents, I would have taken it for granted. Maybe if I had them to fall back on, it wouldn't have meant as much to me, because I knew my future was totally dependent on me. But even if your family is in a position to help you, you better know that your future is totally dependent upon you, because they've already lived their life, and you have your whole life ahead of you. So today, I'm thankful for my struggles. It made me who I am. But the secret to the successful life that I've been able to live is to simply suit up, show up, and do the next right thing. Moment by moment for the last 46 years since I walked across this stage on graduation day. That's not to say that life hasn't knocked me off my feet once in a while, because it has. And it's going to happen to you too, I promise. But remember, it's not so much what happens to you in life that counts. It's how you react to it. Just one example, my wife and I had our first child when we were fairly young, and her name was Sarah. She was born severely and multiply handicapped, physically and mentally. Sarah needed help with walking, feeding, dressing, bathing, toileting, help with all activities of daily living. Sarah understood a lot, but she couldn't speak words. This could have, for many married couples in their early 20s, have torn them apart and wanted to run from the struggles. But when life knocks you to the ground, you've got to get back up, put one foot in another, and keep doing the next right thing. Sarah lived with us at home and passed away in her sleep at age 28. She had a very happy life, and without my wife and I realizing it, Sarah turned out to be an inspiration to many, most of all her siblings. All 5 of her younger siblings and brother helped take care of Sarah, and they saw how hard she had to work to even climb a flight of stairs. Everything in her life was a struggle and a challenge. So our other 5 children intuitively learned from Sarah to suit up, show up, and do the next right thing, to work hard and develop all the abilities that God had given them. And as a result, all 5 of them have achieved their success. Life will knock you to the ground or throw you a curveball once in a while, but remember, it's not what happens to you in life that counts, it's how you react to it. The challenges I faced in life of not having any advantages growing up and the curveballs thrown my way have made me who I am today. So today I challenge each of you, take anything that stands in your way and embrace it. Let it light a fire under you. Because if you really focus like a laser on what you want to do or what you want to become, and you pursue every avenue and opportunity, God will put people in your path that are going to give you a chance or open a door. Again, it really is simple, actually, as I look back. Suit up, show up wherever you're supposed to be, and then do the next right thing, moment by moment. If you do this, I guarantee you're going to have a successful life. So again, congratulations on this milestone in your life. I wish you the very best as you suit up, show up to achieve your dreams. Thank you.